Hello, I'm Bearded Boy, and today I went to church. Today at church, my pastor, as it is early January, has decided that we would be going over the Bible from the beginning. He's calling this understanding his story. I have felt kind of convicted to put forth an effort to doing the same. And the way my pastor is probably going to do it, he's going to skip around a whole lot. What I want to do is I want to go a little bit deeper into each verse, and maybe I won't be able to do that. I might struggle with this a lot, actually. And I think this will be a great way to test my faith. Is going through every Sunday. I'm going to read just a little bit, and I'm going to expand my thoughts on these. You are totally free to tell me your own independent thoughts on each chapter that I'm reading. I want to make it very clear that I am no expert. I am a man who's been a Christian my whole life, but I've never done something like this, where I've recorded my own thoughts on what I'm reading. So this is going to be a very first for me. I'm not even sure if I've read the Bible all the way through before. I don't think I have. So, without further ado, the beginning. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was covered over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. And God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. God saw that the light was good, and he separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening, and there was morning, the first day. And that was 1 through 5. And 2, I find this interesting. My pastor pointed this out. Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. He describes this as some kind of desert, a wasteland where no man can live. And this is interesting because this invites the idea that each day that God makes, he makes for man. Everything he does in these 7 days, he does for man's survival, for man's thriving on this planet. Light is good because it allows us to see. Light and darkness share goodness. Light alone, while typically good, will burn you, obviously. This is literally me spitballing here. But the light is good. And the fact that there is darkness and there is night is also good. Anyway, on to 6. And God said, "Let there be a vault between the waters to separate water from water." So God made the vault and separated the water under the vault from the water above it. And it was so. God called the vault sky, and there was evening, and there was morning, the second day. And that's interesting. See, here, God does not say this is good. My pastor says that this is because there's no place for man. It is the separation between heaven and earth, between the earth and the heavenly waters. I find it really interesting that there is no good here. God does not call this good. That is something that I had never thought about, but I want to bring that to your attention. Maybe you guys can come up with something there. Continuing on. And God said, "Let the water under the sky be gathered to one place, and let dry ground appear." And it was so. God called the dry ground land, and the gathered waters he called seas. And God saw that it was good. Here, God has created land for us to live on, and water for us to drink from. He has given us, once again, gifts from heaven. Then God said, "Let the land produce vegetation, seed-bearing plants and trees on the land that bear fruit with seed in it, according to their various kinds." And it was so. The land produced vegetation, plants bearing seed according to their kinds, and trees bearing fruits with seed in it according to their kinds. And God saw that it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the third day. On this third day, God has made us food out of plants and trees, and allowed them to reproduce. He has given them the ability to continue to thrive, to be planted. I don't know if this includes the plant, of the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil. That's getting a little bit of ahead of ourselves, honestly. But this is the creation of all plants, as far as I'm aware. God made all plants here. This was the third day. And God said, "Let there be lights in the vault of the sky to separate the day from the night, and let them serve as signs to mark sacred times and days and years. And let them be lights in the vault of the sky to give light on earth." And it was so. God made two great lights, the greater light to govern the day, and the lesser light to govern the night. He also made the stars. God set them in the vault of the sky to give light on the earth, to govern the day and the night, and to separate light from darkness. And God saw that it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the fourth day. So on the fourth day, he has separated once again the night and the day. But now he separates further the darkness from the light. He gives us light even in our darkest hour, the night. He's made sure that we have ways to know what his plans are. He's given us signs in the sky. These stars set in motion on the fourth day of existence will tell of things to happen in the future. That's pretty crazy. Once again, he calls this good. And God said, "Let the water teem with living creatures. Let birds fly above the earth across the vault of the sky." So God created the great creatures of the sea and every living thing with which the water teems and it moves about in it, according to their kinds, and every winged bird according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. God blessed them and said, "Be fruitful and increase in number, and fill the water in the seas, and let the birds increase on the earth." And there was evening, and there was morning, the fifth day. Once again, God has seen as this as good, the creation of fish and bird. As you may know, the fish and the bird are often revered as holy symbols, as the dove and the fish. I don't remember what the fish symbol is called, but I'm sure that you have an idea of what it looks like in your mind. It's like a loop, almost like an infinity sign, but cut off, you know. Once again, he said it's good on the fifth day. And God said, "Let the land produce living creatures according to their kinds, the livestock, the creatures that move along the ground, the wild animals, each according to its kind." And it was so. God made the wild animals according to their kinds, the livestock according to their kinds, and all creatures that move along the ground according to their kind. And God saw that it was good. Here you can see it says a lot of "to their kinds." That word, it doesn't seem to mean a whole lot to us in our century. But essentially what I can gather from this is it means these things are together. They are for each other. They are separated by what they are. Essentially. Maybe I'm wrong there, but that's what I gather from this. Once again, the creation of livestock, the creation of animals of all kinds, all mammals, reptiles, this is seen as good. And then God said, "Let us make mankind in our own image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, over the livestock and all the wild animals, and over all the creatures that move along the ground." So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. Here we go into detail. Before this, we had never gone into great detail over any of the other animals. It was of their kind. It was a bland statement. It said, they have seeds, they are with their own kind. Here we go further. We see God created us in his image. This is a big deal. I can't stress that enough. God has come down and he's created man and he has created woman. This is a great big deal. Never before has he ever said, "I have created this and I have created that. And I have created them in my image, and I have created them this, and I have created them that." The closest thing you can get is going into the light and darkness. But even then, he only separates this by earth gaining light and being separated into night and darkness. And then it is separated further by adding stars and the moon to shine light on even the night. That is as close as you get in these passages to seeing just how deeply in love we are made. God consistently compares himself to light. But here we hear God created us in his own image. In the image of God, he created them. There is no mistaking this. This is a clear sign that we are different. We are chosen as a species, as from all creation. He has pulled us, and he has made us special and divided us from the rest of all of creation. And we continue on. It says, God blessed them and said to them, be fruitful and increase in number. Fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky and over every living creature that moves on the ground. Then God said, I give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the whole earth, and every tree that has fruit with seed in it. They will be yours for food, and all the beasts of the earth, and all the birds in the sky, and all the creatures that move along the ground, everything that has breath of life in it, I give every green plant for food. And it was so. God saw all that he had made, and it was very good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the sixth day. Here, God commands us to take dominion, to take control, to lord over all living things on the earth. This is every plant and every animal. These are all for us. God has spent days making these things. He has given us all of it. The earth is for us to fill and subdue. The fish, the birds, and every living creature is for us to rule over. For every seed and every plant and everything that has life in it is for our food. This makes it very clear that everything God has done has been for humanity. Everything God has worked for 7 days. 6 days. This is the 6th day. He commands us to take. So all these 5 days before this, God was careful. He was considerate, and he was lovingly creating a place for us to stay. If you go back and you read into chapter 2, not chapter 2, verse 2, it says, now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. God was scouting the earth, and he said it was dark, and he said it was deep, the surface of the deep. It was formless and empty. As my pastor has said, that's not somewhere I'd like to live. That's not somewhere I know if I could live. And of course, the next day, he goes in and he separates the waters. That's a good start. but I still can't just live on water. So he gives us land, and he gives us dry ground, and he separates it. So that is good. Then he gives us vegetables and vegetation and seeds, and then he gives us light and the separation of night and dark and daylight and brightness. He separates these things, and he further goes on and he creates living creatures, birds and fish. And then he gives us wild animals. And finally, he looks and he says, "This is good. Let us make man." And so he makes man and gives man everything. That is the first chapter of Genesis. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. This is obviously still a rough series. I may go and make this series better. Again, you are free to comment. You are free to tell me what you think. I want to hear what you have to say. So, please do tell me what you have to think and say. Anyways, this has been 22 minutes now. I think that's good enough for a first episode. I'm not even going to edit this. I'm going to just shove it onto the YouTube algorithm and see what happens. I felt called, so this is what I'm doing. Please comment, like, subscribe on this video if this is what you want to see. Just tell me through that interaction, and feel free to tell me what you think. Until next time, have a blessed day.